All right, welcome back, TNT Sports. We're in week 8 of fantasy football. We've been giving you these podcasts every single week so you can help yourself win some of these leagues that you're in. We've given you some great plays from Juwan Jennings before anybody gave them to you, to Bo Nix, to Xavier Legette, to Quentin Johnson. 2 weeks before, the week before, he went off for 2 touchdowns. So stay with us, stick with us, spread the word. Today's episode is sponsored by Champion. You can see right here, I'm wearing some Champion gear. And now that we are a big time podcast in sports and fantasy, we are getting sponsored by these companies that are just coming after us. Now, the great thing about that is we chose Champion because we help you become a champion of your league. So listen in. Today we're going to go over the week 8 slate of games, starting at the 1 o'clock slate, and then moving into the 4 o'clock games, and then moving into the nightly game, and then moving into the Monday game as well. So let's get into it. Let's start with this Sunday game, 1 o'clock. It's a good one. We've got Philadelphia at Cincinnati. LJ, how you feeling about that?
Well, I think you've got a good matchup here between two pretty similar teams. Both have good quarterbacks. I definitely, you're going to play Hurts and Barkley and Brown and Smith on Philadelphia. Burrow, Chase Brown, Higgins, Chase on Cincinnati. And you've got, if you're desperate, you can play Isavas. He's touchdown dependent, but he's in play. I don't see a big sleeper in this game unless you wanted to call Grant Calcaterra the tight end the sleeper. I like him a little more in DFS lineups.
Goddard is out again. Goddard's out again, right?
Goddard's out, and I like Calcaterra in a DFS lineup, even though he let us down last week. But because they do target him, and I think he'll get some. So I would say Calcaterra. There's a lot of tight end sleepers this week. Yanni, and we'll talk about him. But I think this game's pretty no surprises really. I think everybody that's normal should be okay.
Well, Devonta Smith let me down horribly last week. I think he had one catch for 3 yards.
Yeah, I didn't think that was I think you just got to throw that one out. That was what he barely threw the ball at all, and he only threw the ball to Brown, and that was it. So he threw 19 times, or it's pathetic. I mean, throw that one out. If you want to trade Devontae Smith to me, go ahead because I'll take him.
I don't think after that game I'm going to trade him. I think once he has a big game, then maybe I will. But on the other side of things, Cincinnati. We've seen the emergence of Chase Brown kind of take over that backfield. Looks like he's more of the 1A now, whereas at the beginning of the season, Moss was more of the 1A. Chase Brown seems to be just a better runner, better pass catcher. Do you think he's going to have a big game this week?
He could. I think Cincinnati is going to probably get down in this game and have to throw a little more than who knows with Cincinnati. They're just so unpredictable. But
I really like T. Higgins in this game to have a big game.
He's got a little bit of injury concern, though. I mean,
I think I saw that. But if he's healthy and he's playing this week, I expect him to score a touchdown.
T. Higgins is any other team in the NFL. He's a wide receiver one.
I know. All right, so we got that game. I think that'll be a closer game than people think. I think Philadelphia may lose that game to Cincinnati, to tell you the truth. Next up, we've got an interesting one, typically a rivalry game, Baltimore at Cleveland. This is a really, really interesting one because we saw Cleveland's quarterback go down. So now we've got Jameis Winston in, right?
Right. So a lot of the pundits and the so-called experts don't like this game much. I kind of like it. Well, if you have certain players, I kind of like it. So, we know a lot about Jameis Winston from his time in Tampa Bay and a few brief appearances in New Orleans. And what we know is that he's a good deep ball thrower. He throws a lot of interceptions, and he's an exceptionally funny guy in his interviews, evidently. So
Yeah, he's a great guy. Absolutely love Jameis Winston. I'd put him on my team just for morale if on fantasy football. Get the team hyped up to have the guy.
Well, unfortunately, he's not a great fantasy football quarterback historically.
But he can be.
He can be. What happened last year, and we were talking about this earlier, is when Flacco came in after the horrendous performance of Watson last year and ignited that offense. But there was only two guys that really benefited from Flacco, and it was Cooper and it was Njoku.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be the same two guys, except they don't have Cooper anymore. They have a guy named Xavier Tillman. And Monday morning when you wake up and Xavier Tillman's got a line of 7 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns, remember that LJ told you that. Now, if you wake up Monday morning and he's got 1 catch for 3 yards, don't blame LJ.
Well, LJ also told us Calcaterra is going to have a good game. And
I didn't say good game. I said he would he's an option, desperate option.
If there's one,
I'm telling you right now, I'm going out on the limb. Tillman is going to have a good game. I don't know how good. It could be anywhere from a 10 to 12 point fantasy outing to 20s, maybe even 30s. So,
and keep in mind, guys, LJ is exceptionally good at predicting wide receiver games. For some reason, he called Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson scored 2 touchdowns same game. He called Juwan Jennings. Nobody had really talked about him. Juwan Jennings goes out and puts up the biggest game we've seen by a wide receiver this year before anybody told you.
Well, I missed on Wicks too, folks. So I missed on my fair share. But listen, this one, I'm telling you, I screwed up and didn't get him in either one of my leagues, so I'm pissed. But and I think he's a rest of the year play too. I think you can stick him in there and ride him the rest of the year. He's a big rascal. He's about 6'3", 215 pounds. He ran a 4.4340 at the combine.
How old is he?
He's 23 years old. He played at the University of Tennessee. He was played with Hendon Hooker there, and he's exceptionally good. I mean, played in the SEC, so he's played exceptional competition. If you don't have him, even if you're not going to play him, go put him on your bench, and then you're probably going to wish you had played him. Also, if you don't, Njoku got dropped by a ton of people when Watson went through his, terrible play. So, I picked Njoku up in one of my leagues out there for nothing.
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago. So he's gonna. I think Tillman and Njoku are going to benefit from this. I think Chubb is going to be touchdown dependent, but I think they're going to do everything they can. I told you guys this last week too, did I not?
You did.
What did I say? I said Chubb, they're going to try to get him a touchdown. What'd they do? So there you go. But remember, Cedric Tillman.
Cedric Tillman's only 14% owned in Yahoo leagues too. So 86% of your leagues, he's out there and available right now.
And you can also drop him into a DFS lineup at this point. Cheap.
Yeah, I like him. He had 81 yards, 8 receptions on 12 targets last week. And Jameis Winston's going to get him try to get him the ball.
Tillman had 12 targets between Dorian Thompson and Winston. And believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, Friedman, Njoku had 18 targets.
Yeah, something crazy.
They're in the elite target level. So, Winston is going to connect. He's also going to throw a couple interceptions too, but he's going to throw the ball downfield. You guys have watched. And listen, everyone's given up on Judy and Moore, and for good reason, because they stink or have stunk under Watson. But, maybe there's some life in those guys too. I don't know. But I wouldn't run them out there. The only wide receiver I would start personally is Tillman, and only 2 guys in the receiving core I'd start would be Tillman and Njoku.
Now,
personally.
yeah, I agree. Now, on the other side of the ball, there's a guy that I want to talk about for a minute, and his name's Rashad Bateman. Listen, I've been watching those games. Um, One, Flowers is banged up right now. Flowers went down with an ankle injury that may be a little bit worse than we predicted because he went out of that game. He didn't really come back and play at all. Bateman ended up catching 4 balls for 121 yards and a touchdown. The game before that, Bateman caught 4 balls for 71 yards. Game before that, Bateman caught 4 balls for 58 yards and a touchdown on 8 targets. I don't know why this guy's only 45% owned right now.
Well, Bateman, I agree, but Bateman has a long history of showing flashes, just like he's doing right now, of being good and then getting hurt for 6 weeks. And, people forget about him. I mean, he
Listen,
was a
dude,
first round or second round
first
draft
round
pick.
draft pick. This guy came out of college with, I mean, people were saying this guy's incredible. He's going to be an absolute monster. Then he had injury issues. He couldn't catch the ball. And listen, sometimes it takes a few years for these guys. I'm telling you, man, if Bateman's available in your league, he's another guy to just, put on your bench. Or if you're in a desperate situation and you need a wide receiver or flex spot this week, look at him, man, because Flowers is somewhat injured this week.
And look at Justice Hill too. He's wildly inconsistent, but that's another play.
He can
All right, so
always score a touchdown any week. There's a chance he's going to catch a touchdown, Hill. So keep him in mind too.
Now you got Tennessee at Detroit. On paper, that's just an absolute massacre, isn't it?
It is going to be a massacre. I think, is Will Levis back? I think it's still going to be
It's going to
Rudolph.
be Rudolph.
And Rudolph is neither of them are any good. But the Lions should destroy them. I don't like anyone on the Titans. They just got rid of Hopkins. I don't want to play. I'm not playing Ridley.
You're not playing Pollard?
I'm not playing Pollard this week. No, I would not. Unless you need to, which I think a lot of people probably do need to. But listen, Pollard's been fairly inconsistent.
Well, but besides the same old cast of characters with Detroit, you got Goff, Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery. You're missing Williams. He's been suspended for 2 weeks, so you're not. So you got a couple sleeper wide receivers in there that you might want to look at, and Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond. Desperate plays, but
what about this? So we talked about this a little bit last week. When Jamison Williams has been out on the field, Laporta has kind of been a non-factor. With Jamison Williams not on the field, do we see a big game from Laporta?
I think it's possible. I don't even feel like it's the same guy. And there's always a lot of things that can cause that. But I recall Laporta started the season with some sort of injury, ankle issue, and it just –
he may be just going through
it just may be it may be he's just not hadn't felt 100% all year. But he's a tough play right now. I hate it.
Who would you rather start this week, Tucker Kraft or Laporta?
Kraft.
Njoku or Laporta?
Oh, no question, Njoku.
Evan Ingram or Laporta?
Ingram.
Yeah. See, I don't think Laporta's not even a top 12 tight end for me right now this week, I don't think.
He could be. Well, let's see what happens with Jamison.
Mark Andrews or Laporta?
Well, Mark Andrews, we didn't talk about him in the last game, but I can't have a guy out there. I have no idea whether he's going to get 0 or it's just 20. Yeah, I just not playable for me. But if you have him, you probably have to play him as bad as the tight end situation. I get it. If I had him, I'd probably have to play him.
Listen, you can pick up any tight end right now, and you're going to get 5 to 8 points. The same thing that Laporta's been doing. I could go and pick up the guy for the Panthers right now and probably get 7 points this
Hell,
week.
you can pick up Hunter Henry and get that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to start Laporta. Man, and if I don't see something from him in the next couple of weeks, he's borderline droppable.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Then we got Arizona at Miami. That one is Tua's return.
Tua's back. I love that for anybody who's got Waddle. I just saw Tyreek Hill came up on the injury report and it did not practice on Friday. If he doesn't play, fire up Waddle anyways with Tua back, but I like both of them this week. If Tyreek Hill doesn't play, which I think he will,
He's
Waddle's
playing. I would be shocked.
I would too, and I don't even know what happened. It must have been something in practice.
I don't know, but he's wound like a friggin' I mean, that guy's wound so tight. He moves his
He's like
fingers.
one of those little things you wind up and just
Yeah, he's but Waddle. Unfortunately, I am a owner of Waddle in every league that I'm in, and Waddle has stunk. Now,
he's been bad, LJ.
To say he's been bad, to be honest with you, it's almost like he doesn't even play. So we're starting week 8, and I would say this is basically Waddle's first week as a player. So who the hell knows what we're going to get out of him? We've gotten nothing so far.
Are you starting him? I think if you have him, you probably have to start him, right?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm starting him. I mean, but I am. It was a terrible pick. So, terrible draft.
Well, you never know, man. He may be one of those guys where he has an incredible second half because he's got the talent to do it.
Oh, he does, and I'm hoping so. But in that game, this Arizona quarterback situation's been pathetic. And I told you at the beginning of the year, I think in one of these podcasts, that Harrison Jr. was a marvelous athlete, really good talent level, but he scared me because he had games in college where he completely disappeared. Well, he's doing it in the pros too. Now, a lot of that has Murray written all over it but doesn't happen to Neighbors, doesn't happen to Chase, it doesn't happen to Jefferson. Any damn quarterback that goes and plays with those guys, doesn't matter who they are, they catch passes. So that's a problem for me with Harrison. That drops him a little bit below the elite level that I thought he might be. And then Michael Wilson, the other cat on this team, he's a desperation play. If you don't have
James Conner's an automatic start this week.
Conner's a start, A-Chain's a start. What's Mostert's status? Do you know?
He's healthy. They're all 3 of those running backs are healthy now. Jalen Wright, A-Chain, and Mostert, and it's pretty much A-Chain, Mostert, Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright's not really a guy you want to start, but as we've seen all year, those 2 top guys go down consistently.
Well, I would say that Jonnu Smith's also a desperate, sneaky, whatever you want to call it, tight end star. That's all Huntley wanted to throw to was him, but Tua is not likely to make him.
Tua is gonna set up plays to hit Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as much as he can.
And I'm guaranteeing you, those offensive linemen are being told.
I'm terrified of Tua, though, man. One more concussion, and that guy could die out there.
Yeah, I'm also terrified. If I'm one of his offensive linemen, I'm terrified that my coaching staff's going to kill me if I don't protect him.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
So, one other guy, again, Jalen Wright, just floating around out there. But remember, Mostert's 32 years old and injury prone, and A-Chain's 5'8", about 160 pounds, and injury prone. So just Jalen Wright's a guy.
If you have a spot on your bench to stash him. But I think you're going to consistently see one of those guys will be healthy throughout the year.
Well, the thing about it is they support a 2-man backfield. They're kind of like Detroit. Mm-hmm. They can have Montgomery, and last year it was kind of the Montgomery Gibbs, where A-Chain was the more outside, and Mostert scored like 23 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, and you're a big fan of McDaniels, aren't you?
No, I don't like that little pajama boy. I watched the press conference with him the other day, and I don't like to talk about anybody because the man's trying to make a living and do a good job for his family and everything else. But it's kind of embarrassing. Jeez.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to we got a doozy here. The Jets at the Patriots. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be a good one, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
no interest in this game. Although guess Rodgers is playable and Adams and Garrett Wilson. I think May, if you're in a deep two quarterback league, is playable. I think Hunter Henry is definitely playable. I
Yeah.
think I think Lazard is probably on the verge of not being playable.
Lazard's out.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, Lazard's out.
Okay. So
He's
Mike
hurt.
Williams is then on the verge of not being playable.
Mike Williams, you can't play him. Really, you can play Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson.
And I like Douglas as a sleeper.
Patriots
Here we
just have
go
so
again.
many very average receivers. They've got
But
that.
here we go again with the NFL and one of these teams. This Mayo guy knows damn well that Douglas is sick. Doesn't tell anybody about it. People march him out there on their fantasy teams to play him. He plays 2 plays and gets sick and doesn't play at all. That's wrong.
Yeah,
You
Mayo's another one that stinks, man.
He's a knucklehead. But I feel sorry for any of you guys have Douglas because he was a good play last week and he would have done well.
Yeah,
So let's move on to Atlanta, Tampa Bay. There's a lot to talk about here.
that's a great one. Two
So
teams,
Atlanta
4-3.
I don't even know if Mayfield's playable, but he may be. Cousins for sure. So Cousins, Robinson, London, Pitts, run them out there. Algier, maybe even if you like Algier.
I actually love Moody this week.
You do?
Yeah, I do. That Tampa Bay Bucks defense, their defensive backs, they give up a lot to these wide receivers and to these quarterbacks. I like Moody a lot. If anything, they'll try to limit London if they can. And I'm telling you, this Moody guy may catch 7 balls for 120 yards and a touchdown this week. If you got
What about Ray McLeod? Is he playing?
he's okay. They run some stuff with him, but I think Moody's the guy this week. London is an obvious play, but I think that Kirk Cousins will support 100% 2 good wide receiver outings this week, and Moody's the guy.
And as usual, with Evans and Godwin going out, you got the guessing game that you got to play with these other guys. And, Mayfield, you got McMillan, Shepard, and Palmer. I think you could probably flip a coin. I just don't know. I couldn't tell. Talent-wise, I would go with McMillan. Availability or familiarity with pro football and route running, I would go with Shepard.
Yeah.
And Palmer, just a complete unknown.
I think that Mayfield's going to have to
Otten's the guy that's going to get a lot.
Otten will, but I think wide receiver wise, I think Shepard is oddly, and people aren't talking about him at all because everyone's telling you to add Jalen McMillan. Do not be surprised if Shepard goes out and catches,
Well, he's widely available. He's widely available. So
he is widely available. And to tell you the truth, if you look back at Shepard, he was really good when he was healthy on the Giants. And he's not that old. He's a veteran in the league now, but he's still, not a guy that's, 35 or anything like that. Let me see how old he is.
No, he's in his late 20s, I think.
Oh, actually, he is. He's older. He is 31.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he is. But just keep him in mind because I think, when he's gonna need to lean on someone this week, Mayfield's gonna hit Shepard.
Well,
and he's widely available. So if
I'm Atlanta, I'm going after Mayfield all game, aren't you?
Oh, all game, yeah.
I'm not going to let that guy have because
honestly, look for Mayfield to lean on some of these. He's got 2 really good pass catching running backs. So, what I would expect is Bucky Irving, if he's healthy, I don't know if he's going to play, and Rachaad White to catch quite a few balls this week as well.
I agree. I'm just
but yeah, Sterling Shepard though, he if you look back at all his seasons in New York for the Giants, he never really had a great season because he was always hurt. I mean, he hasn't played a full season ever since 2018. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, let's move on to Green Bay and Jacksonville. Green Bay is I think Love's in for a huge game.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you who was going to be the recipient of Love's huge game, but I can't.
Well, I'll tell
I
you
can
one.
tell you that it'll be one of four guys and potentially five if you throw Kraft in. But you got Dobbs, Wicks, Watson, and Reed, and good luck with them.
Well, I'll
I
tell
want
you.
nothing to do with them. I'm done, finished, kaput. Green Bay wide receivers, nothing. I'm done. Even if you could give me Reed, I wouldn't take him. I just done.
Reed is fine. The other three are the ones you just don't know. Reed will be fine.
I'm done with them all. I can't. You can't play fantasy football when you have no idea what Love is going. What they're. I mean, they all got the same amount of snaps.
Yeah,
they
but
basically here's what they're doing right now. They're playing Watson in one series and Wicks in the next. They're switching Dobbs out for it's. I don't know. I can't tell I can't tell you as a fan or as a fantasy football owner who to play. So
honestly,
I can't tell you who to play. I'm not going to play him.
And it's been a few weeks, honestly, since Reed's had an actual game where he's been good.
He's stunk too.
Yeah, last week he was terrible. A week before that, he was pretty bad. He just caught a lucky touchdown pass.
And then you throw in, they also run this Bo Melton out there. I mean, there's 5 of them running around out there, and it's extremely difficult to figure out which one it's going to be. And Jacksonville is just as screwed up. I mean, you can't. Kirk gets nothing. Thomas can have a 6-catch, 120-yard, 2-touchdown game or have nothing.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram is probably the best play on their team. I mean, what's going on with ETN?
I don't know, but Bigsby's definitely eaten into the workload. But Michael Thomas is
Brian Thomas.
Yeah. Thomas is a play that you can play every week. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the league right now.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, he also has laid some huge duds.
I think he's had one bad game all year.
Well,
yeah. Listen, dude, look at this. His last 4 games, 18.9, 20.7, 4.2, and 19.6.
Yeah, the 4 point. But I'm just saying there's a 4.2 in him.
Yeah, but
there ain't a 4.2 typically in a.
Yeah, but give him a break, man. That was at Chicago, and they friggin' locked him down, focused their whole dang defense on him.
Well, I don't get me wrong, I like him. And guess what? Go back and look at that draft, the NFL draft, and then look at the fantasy football draft. We all had it wrong. The best receivers were Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, period.
Yeah, by far. Those are the guys. Everyone was talking about Adunze. Everyone was talking
Harrison
about
Jr. and Worthy.
But these 2 guys have by far been the best in that draft class, Thomas and Neighbors.
And they're good because they played with the pro quarterback in college too, with Daniels.
Yep. Yeah. Going back to that Green Bay wide receiver real quick. Dobbs has been the best over the last 2 weeks. If I'd start anyone, I'd start 2 guys. It'd be Reed and Dobbs, and that's about it right now. I can't trust Wicks. How about you? You like Wicks, right?
No, I don't. I hate Wicks, and I'm not personal.
Not personally.
No, I gave up Javonte Williams to get Wicks because I felt so strongly about Wicks, and it was one of the worst moves I've ever made in fantasy football. So I'm just pissed off about the whole situation. Now Javonte Williams is coming into this weekend playing Carolina, and I have to face the guy that got Javonte Williams after I dropped him. So you talk about bitter, being gored by your own petard. Has that ever happened to you, Jew? I mean,
Uh, well, it's happened a few times. I've made some trades and then played the guy who I traded, and he's just destroyed me before. How about you? All right, let's move on. That game is that'll be an interesting game. But a really good one that I'm really interested in this week is Colts at the Texans. Hear me out real quick. This week, and everybody record this, and this week is Anthony Richardson's breakout week. He's going to have a monster week. This is it.
Wow. What leads you to believe that? Just pure desire on your part?
I've got a feeling, just like I had a feeling.
Nothing in the play on the field that would lead you to believe that. Nothing.
I've got a feeling, just like I had a feeling about Edie.
Well, that didn't work well.
No, I do have a feeling this week. I don't know why.
Listen, folks, you know what this knucklehead did? He picks a guy that's 7'6", 350 pounds, and he puts him in a DFS lineup.
LJ.
And he pays $6,000 for him, and the guy fouls out in the first 5 minutes.
Well, let's not talk about that, LJ. We're still working through the NBA stuff. We'll get there, and all these people will be like, damn, these guys are creating incredible lineups. Anyways, though, this game, though, you can obviously on the Texans side, you can fire up Joe Mixon as an every week top 5 running back right now. The guy's been absolutely incredible, even when he's injured.
Stroud's not playable, though. He's terrible.
If you have him, you probably have to
play him. But, I mean, the last few games, he doesn't throw the ball at all.
He's like Mahomes, man. He's like Mahomes.
Yeah, right, but he's losing.
Yeah. Tank Dell, is he playable? I think he put up 0 last week or something.
I don't know if anybody. I mean, Josh Downs. I mean, Pittman, Pierce. This is another crapshoot.
I know. Who is playable? I'm telling you right now, the most playable guy this week on both sides of the field is going to be Anthony Richardson.
I think the most playable guys are Mixon and Diggs for Houston, and for Indianapolis, I guess Jonathan Taylor coming off injuries, your automatic play. But I hope for your sake you're right about Richardson. I'm sure there's a ton of other people who drafted him out there that want him, but there's nothing in his play that indicates he's ready to do anything. He stunk.
Well, I know, but I don't know why, but I got a feeling about him this week.
Now, this New Orleans at the Chargers, man, does this thing set up to be – I mean, New Orleans has, the Rattler kid who's – I can't imagine any situation where anybody'd want to play him. Can you?
I can't stand that guy, Rattler. I went back and I watched some videos of him and stuff. He was cocky, thinks he's the best damn player in the world. He's terrible. I mean, he rolls out there and just stinks.
Well,
and he screws. A lot of us here have Kamara. I've got Kamara in almost every single league, and he makes Kamara almost worthless.
Well, here's what I think. I got a hot lead on this game, so Friedman. So here's what's going to happen. This guy stinks, Rattler. Now, if Taysom Hill, and that's a big if, but if Taysom Hill is healthy, play him. Because he's going to play a lot at quarterback. He's going to run the ball in the red zone. If he's healthy, play him, because they're probably – the good news is the Chargers aren't a high-octane offense, so they're probably going to – New Orleans is probably going to hang in this game. So it could be a big game for Dobbins. It could be a big game I think McConkey will do well in this game, because I think I don't really like anyone from New Orleans other than Kamara. Do you?
Well, I love Olave.
And Hill. Taysom Hill potentially.
I love Olave, but I don't like him right now.
Yeah. I mean, just like Waddle and Hill. I mean, it could happen, but are you gonna if you don't have anybody else? And I was in that situation. I had to play Waddle when I knew he wasn't going to score
Well,
anything.
Olave is also coming off of a concussion. And I don't know if 100% sure. It looks like he is going to play. All right, so yeah, Olave cleared the concussion protocol, so he will play. And Derek Carr is for sure not back, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, it says he's doubtful, but he should be back next week. So
If I had New Orleans Saints players this week, other than Taysom Hill and Kamara, I wouldn't play him.
I don't think I could. I don't think I would play Olave unless you just need a desperate
play. And you probably, if you have Olave, you probably have to play him like the rest of us.
Would you prefer this week McConkey or Olave?
McConkey.
My
God, yeah. You got Justin Herbert.
What about
Justin Herbert's got the best throwing accuracy in the NFL if he's not. Justin Herbert has literally been hurt. Last year it was a shoulder, and this year it's an ankle for the last 2 years. Now he plays through it a lot, but it has affected him. When he gets 100%, McConkey's going to be a weapon, and so is Josh Palmer and Johnston. Trust me on this. Herbert's not been 100% this year.
All right. Bills at the Seahawks. What do you like here?
Okay, so I like Buffalo. I like, obviously you're going to start Josh Allen and Amari Cooper. Keon Allen is, he's not doing much, but he catches long passes, 50-plus yards. Keon Coleman, yeah. Seattle looks like Metcalf's not going to play. So I like Noah Fant in DFS for sure.
Let me see. Is Metcalf not going to play?
No.
Really? Oh, man. That means fire up Jackson Smith and Jigba.
And
Lockett. Yeah. No, all right. That's interesting to know because I didn't realize that injury was going to keep him out.
I like Noah Fant. If you need a tight end, he's out there. Go get Noah Fant. I bet you he gets you 8 for 80.
Yeah. On that Bills side, I think the addition of Amari Cooper is going to help Keon Coleman. I actually like that kid, Keon Coleman, a lot. He's funny, too. You ever listen to him talk?
Yeah, I like him, too. Kincaid, too, might be helped.
Yeah, might help Kincaid, too. I think you're okay playing Kincaid. I think you're okay playing Amari Cooper, obviously. I think if you need a desperation wide receiver play, I think Keon Coleman's in play as well. That Seattle defense is not, very, very good. So I think you can fire up any of those guys.
Well, that's another S show, that whole receiver. This Buffalo receiver room has been a crapshoot from the very beginning, and so I think it might stabilize finally with the addition of Cooper. You might have your wide receiver one, you might have your slot receiver and Shakir, and you might have Coleman as your third receiver, and then Kincaid as your tight end, and get some, and be done with Samuel and Valdez Scantling and all these other marginal guys that were running around there, and go with these guys here. The next one, Carolina at Denver. Man, what a matchup for Bo Nix and Javonte Williams, huh?
Yeah, that's a good one. Denver defense should feast too,
and I think Surtain's back and Deontay Johnson. Now, answer me this, Friedman. So Dalton, you're down there in Charlotte. Dalton was in a car accident, correct?
Yeah, he was.
And so he got injured and he can't play.
Correct.
So they were going to play Dalton.
They were going to play Dalton, but he got in a car wreck. They say he's fine, honestly, but I think he's just a little shook up.
Because, look, again, you look at the situation with Young. He's thrown into an absolute horrible situation. Deontay Johnson's not playing.
Yeah, again.
Leggett is the only guy in town, and Mingo. You want nobody on this Carolina offense this week. I guess if you have to play Hubbard, playing, but Maybe Jontavian Sanders is the play because I don't know.
Maybe we'll see Brooks a little bit this week and see how he plays.
I don't think so. I think they said he's out. So, but you do want Javonte Williams. You do want, if you've got Bo Nix, and I just recommended to one of the guys in one of our leagues to go get, he lost, he's worried about Jaden Daniels. And I said, start Bo Nix. He's the second best start. If you want a guy similar to Daniels, it's Nix.
Yeah.
And especially in this matchup.
Listen, Bo Nix is a quarterback one this year on the season.
Yeah.
He's better than Mahomes. He's been better than Stroud. He's been better than all these knuckleheads y'all picked in the first 2 rounds.
And he's also runs the ball. He's had 70, 80 yards the last 2 weeks. So,
yeah.
But the one guy I want to talk about too is Troy Franklin. Now, this guy, again, this Knicks guy played with Franklin at Oregon. And Franklin caught 1,400 yards in receiving as a senior at Oregon, and then he went to the pros with Knicks. So don't think they didn't draft Franklin knowing that Knicks was going to be their quarterback. So the fact of the matter is Franklin has had excellent pedigree, and now he's getting an opportunity. And we've always told you opportunity, if the guy's good, turns out to be successful. And this guy's going to be successful. I'm telling you, he's going to probably see the end zone this week. And Knicks it's going to be a combination for years to come. Troy Franklin.
Yeah, and Franklin's, if you've been watching, Franklin's been coming on as the number 1 wide receiver there. He's been catching 5 balls for 51 yards, 6 balls for 58 yards, stuff like that. So if you got a spot on your bench, another good guy to pick up, man. He's
extraordinarily fast too.
All right.
So we got KC at Las Vegas.
Basically start everyone on the Chiefs and don't start anyone on the Raiders besides Bowers.
That's about it. Except I don't even know if
what about DeAndre Hopkins? Hopkins is playing. He's playing.
But I don't know if I'd play him.
Oh, I would.
You would?
Yeah, I would. He's a veteran, man. They're going to find the way to get him the ball. They have to. I think you can put – again, he's not for me, he's not like a top 20 wide receiver or anything. But if you've got 3 wide receiver spots in a flex, you can put Hopkins in and play him. I mean, who are you going to play over Hopkins in a flex spot? I mean, think about it. Would you rather play Hopkins or like, let's say
I just don't trust anything that Mahomes has done this year. So I happen to have him in fantasy, and he's been wildly. I mean, I think he leads the NFL in picks, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got like 6 touchdowns and 8 picks or something. I just traded for Mahomes because I think that his second half, he really improves. And I had a feeling they were going to pick up someone like Hopkins. I was hoping it was going to be someone more like Cooper Kupp.
I was hoping it was going to be Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Kupp because the Rams said
Cooper.
Or Amari Cooper would have been perfect. But Hopkins, it is what it is. They didn't want to spend too much money. And listen, if anyone can make a receiver relevant again, it'll be that Andy Reid guy in Mahomes, right?
Right. But I don't know. But I just, gosh, I wish Mahomes. Would you start Mahomes this week or Bo Nix?
Oh, man, that's tough. Honestly,
against Vegas,
I'd probably start Mahomes, but I don't think Bo Nix is a bad start either. I think Bo Nix is a top 10 quarterback this week, but I think Mahomes is going to have a good week. I think he finds the end zone twice throwing the ball. I think probably Kelsey catches a touchdown, and Worthy or Hopkins will catch a touchdown pass this week.
All right, so Chicago at Washington, the first 2 draft picks, right? You got Daniels and Williams facing each other, but Daniels is injured. I think there's a chance he plays, believe it or not.
I don't think he's going to play. But if he does, obviously you start him. You have to.
Well, here's what you do, folks. Listen to LJ. So you got a 4 o'clock afternoon window that Daniels is playing in. They're not going to let you know Daniels is going to be available or not playing probably till late. So you get Bo Nix and you stick him on your team. And if Daniels doesn't play, you put Bo Nix in because Bo Nix is widely available in every single league, not necessarily
Well,
in 2 touchdown leagues, but in other leagues he is.
yeah. And if he's not, you can pivot to Russell Wilson, who I think will have a fine game against the
I
Giants.
do too. That's a good call. I played Russell Wilson all last year and was 12-0.
Yeah. So I think you plan to do that. And if he doesn't start, you pivot to Bo Nix or Russell Wilson, both of which are probably available.
And Adunze and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, you playing them all?
I'm not playing Adunze. I'm playing Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. Yeah. I'm probably playing Cole Kmet
And Swift.
and Swift. Yeah.
And then what about for the Redskins? You got Robinson and Eckler?
I'm not playing Eckler, I don't think. I'm playing Robinson.
What about McLaurin if Daniels is out?
You still got to play him, I think, because he's just that good. But I wouldn't expect to have a really big game if Daniels is out. Who's their backup?
Mariota.
Who's still pretty decent. So yeah, I'm still playing McLaurin no matter what. I think Eckler is probably better with Mariota in there too, maybe. So I don't know. I think Robinson and McLaurin are the two starts there no matter what. Maybe you can play Eckler. And honestly, you might be able to play Mariota.
All right, so that game, we're not going to know about Daniels probably till sometime around 3 or 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. So that's why I'm saying be prepared. If you got him in there, if you don't have any plan right now to do something, if he's not playing, you don't play him because my guess is like Friedman, he's not playing. Okay, so next game, Dallas, Sunday night game, Dallas at San Francisco. Oh, man, everybody on San Francisco's hurt. Their whole receiving corps gone.
Ricky Pearsall is back. He may be the guy.
You like him?
Honestly, I like Juwan Jennings better than him this week. I don't know.
Jennings playing?
I think he is. Is Deebo Samuel playing?
Well, he has pneumonia, so my guess is no. But
let me check.
I've seen crazier things happen, but I can't imagine he plays. And Kittle's hurt too. I think he might play, but Kittle's hurt. Debo's hurt, got pneumonia. Jennings is a hip pointer. Obviously, Ayuk's out. Pearsall is just coming off getting shot. And then you got this Cowing guy and David Bell. So I don't know that I play too many San Francisco receivers. I think Mason's your bell cow. You play Mason, you play Kittle, and you play Jennings if Jennings is
Jennings is out. Jennings is ruled out for this week.
So
basically you have Cowing or you have
David Bell.
Ricky Pearsall and Cowing is what you got out there. I like Pearsall a lot better. But
if you have a if Ayuk and Samuel are out, somebody's going to have a good game against Dallas. So I don't.
It's probably going to be Mason. He's probably going to catch 5 balls for 70 yards. Kittle, yeah. But Dallas, one thing we know about Dallas's defense is it stinks.
Now on the Dallas side of the ball, obviously Lamb and Prescott are playable in this game. But what are you doing with Tolbert and what are you doing with Ferguson and what are you doing with the running back situation, Dowdle?
I guess you can play Ferguson at the tight end spot. You definitely can. He's not much different than any other tight end you can get. If you have him on your team, you might as well play him. Dowdle, you could probably put him in the flex spot. I think there's an opportunity for him to catch some balls and run the ball. I mean, he's been okay in the last couple of weeks. Tolbert, I don't know. He's hit or miss. I wouldn't play Tolbert, I don't think, this week, but if you're desperate again, he's out there if you need him.
Well, my thing is do you not feel like Prescott's going to have to throw the ball a lot? I mean, San Francisco's only chance to win this game, as bad as Dallas is, their only chance to win this game is to defensively destroy Dallas. So they're going to try to kill Prescott, because if Prescott, that I don't see, as bad as Dallas's defense is, the only way, unless Mason has 200 yards rushing, which he very well could.
Yeah.
How are they going to score?
I don't know. I think it's going to be the over under in this game is believe it or not, is one of the highest over unders in the second highest, which is baffling to me because there's really not as much offense out there as everyone thinks there is.
Well, no, I think what you're going to have is, I think you're going to have Dallas throwing and San Francisco running. So Dallas can't stop the run. San Francisco is decent at both, but that's what's going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco runs it right down their throat, similar to the time Buffalo did last year when James Cook ran all over Dallas on a Sunday night game. But my guess is that's what's going to happen. Mason's just going to run them all over the field, and San Francisco is going to win an ugly game, 31-28.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than people think out there, and I think it's going to end up being like 24-14 or 24-17 or something like that.
Well, the best unit on the field is San Francisco defense. So,
yeah.
And the second best unit is a Dallas offense. So it's going to be a game between San Francisco's defense and Dallas's offense. And if San Francisco can win that portion of the game, they'll win the overall game.
Yeah, agree.
So, all right, moving on. Let's talk about the Giants at Pittsburgh on Monday night. Who do you like, and who do you like for the Giants?
I really like Malik Neighbors this week to come back. It's been a few weeks with that guy. He had that concussion. He didn't really have a good week last week. I think this is where he has one of those weeks where he gets about 12 targets, catches about 8 balls for 100 yards.
And you like Robinson?
Every week I like Robinson to get opportunities because he's just Daniel Jones is just running for his life out there, and he hits Robinson on the short passes. So every week I think there's a chance for Robinson to catch 6 balls for 60 yards. That's pretty much what he does.
Okay. So then what do you think about I
love George Pickens this week.
No, but let's stay on the Giants. We got Neighbors and we got Wan'Dale Robinson. Is Jones a playable quarterback this week?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay, now what are you going to do with the backfield there? You got Tracy and Singletary. You going to play either one of them?
Nope, I wouldn't. What about you?
So Tracy's probably if you had to play one, he'd be my play. What about you?
Yeah, but let me look at what he did last week, because I'm fairly certain that he was no
fine.
Good. He was, let's see.
Didn't do anything great.
He had 6 rushes for 23 yards, 3 receptions for 9 yards, 4.7 fantasy points.
But that game
was out of hand, but still.
Yeah.
They scored 3 points.
All right, so
Philadelphia.
Let's move to Pittsburgh side of the ball. So you say you like Pickens. What about Wilson? You playable this week?
Yeah, he's the guy that if you need a guy in a pinch and you're looking at Jaden Daniels potentially.
What about Freiermuth?
Dude, honestly, with these tight ends, I don't care. They're all this damn same, unless you have Bowers or Kittle.
And then what about the other the running back situation there with Warren and
What I've noticed is Russell Wilson really likes Jalen Warren,
I've noticed that too,
and he will get him the ball. So if he's gonna be the quarterback, you can keep
probably
your
play
eyes
Warren.
keep your eyes on Warren, because last week Jalen Warren had 12 rushes for 44 yards, caught 2 balls for 15 yards against the Jets. This week he's got the Giants. And
Well, the Giants lead the NFL in sacks.
yeah, but I'm just saying, so, for some reason or another, Jalen Warren tends to do better with Russell Wilson.
So Fryermuth falls into that generic tight end category. Then you got
Warren and Tony are kind of like the same for me. Like, hey, they're okay. Najee Harris, I still think, is a better play than Warren. What do you think?
Yeah. Not crazy about him, but yeah. Then on the receiving side of the ball, after Pickens, is anybody playable? Austin or Van Jefferson or any of these guys? No.
No.
All right. So basically, Pittsburgh's offense is going to come from Warren, Harris, and Pickens.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Giants' offense is basically going to come from Malik Neighbors or Robinson, if I had to guess. But they've got so many of those wide receivers on that team that can just, like Slayton and Hyatt and these guys who can just, they're out there. And
again, I've talked about Theo Johnson before, but he's a big tight end, 6'6", 270-pound tight end for them. So,
all right, let's wrap it up. We're coming in on an hour here. My wife's texting me saying, "Hey, man, where you been?"
Well, here we got
we've got NBA DraftKings to talk about, and I want to talk about that, but we may have to do a different podcast for that. But with that being said, let's real quick run through our favorite sneaky sleeper plays this week that we like to have good games. I've got a couple. You want me to start?
Sure.
All right. Now, I said it during the podcast. Quarterback, Anthony Richardson is going to be a top 5 quarterback this week. I like him to be a top 5 quarterback play this week. Beyond that, at the running back position, if Bucky Irving doesn't play, Sean Tucker is going to have a good game this week. Wide receiver wise, I'm going to let you talk about your boy. I like Sterling Shepard and Keon Coleman as sneaky plays this week to have good games. Keep your eyes on both of those guys.
Okay, I like it. Quarterback Bo Nix this week as a sneaky good play. I think he's going to be going up against the Carolina defense that's terrible, and Bo Nix is a much better athlete than I gave him credit for. I like at running back. I like it's gonna really depend on how much run Moss gets, but I like Chase Brown.
Yeah.
To step out there. And then at wide receiver, I got 2 I like that I think are flying under the radar. I like Cedric Tillman big time, and I like Troy Franklin big time in the future. And then at tight end, like I said, I like Calcaterra as maybe a DFS play or a potential target. And I like back at the wide receiver, I mean, they got to throw to someone, Friedman. I guess I like Pearsall. You?
I do like Pearsall this week. When everyone says they like Pearsall, though, it'll probably be Cowan.
Yeah, and it probably will. But he caught I looked at his last week's game. He caught like a 50-yard pass or something. So
He did. Pearsall had more targets and caught more balls, but Cowing had the longer catch than Pearsall did. So we'll see. But there you have it. We gave you some good names. We gave you Tillman. Keep Tillman. I gave you a couple other guys as well. So keep those guys in mind. And anything else you want to wrap it up with, LJ?
nope, we're all good. We'll be back with some NBA DFS in the future. We're determined to become experts at that.
Yeah, we're gonna get really good at that, guys. So you can follow along the journey and watch how it's done, because we are so close right now to winning big, but we're just missing a couple small pieces of the puzzle. But when we go back and we look at our lineups, we've got 6 of the 8 in the top, winners there. So we're going to get there, and you guys can follow along and understand how we get there. So, all right, guys, thanks. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck this week.